Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cliffhangers and Page Turners. How has everyone's week been? We hope it was good. We're definitely excited to get into another, well, frankly, huge book with you all today. You're tuned into episode 28 and today's book, George Orwell's 1984. Now, we want this to feel like a proper book club chat, opinions, critique, maybe even a bit of debate. It's all welcome. And hey, if you're into gripping book discussions and let's face it, some pretty wild and often dark plot twists, definitely hit that subscribe button. We drop new episodes every Friday on all the usual podcast platforms. But remember, for the full back catalog, the only place to find all the old episodes is over on YouTube. Okay, let's get into it.
Absolutely. And 1984, where do you even start? It's monumental. But maybe before we even step into Oceania, we should talk about the man behind it, Eric Arthur Blair. Or, as we know him, George Orwell.
Right, because his life wasn't just background noise, was it? It feels like it directly fed into, well, everything in the book.
Completely. You can't really understand the book fully without understanding him. He was born in British India in 1903. His father was a civil servant, actually in the opium department, which is it's kind of telling in itself, right?
Yeah, the machinery of empire right from the start.
Exactly. He went to Eton, the famous school, but couldn't afford university afterwards. So he joined the Indian Imperial Police in Burma from 1922 to 1927.
And he grew to hate it. Didn't he? Hated imperialism?
Profoundly. That experience, seeing the system from the inside, seeing how it subjugated people, it clearly shaped his views on power and control. You can see echoes of that in how the party operates its sort of disregard for the populations it controls.
Or he leaves the police.
Resigns in 1927, yeah. Moves to Paris with the ambition of becoming a writer. But it wasn't glamorous, not at first anyway.
No, he really struggled, right? Lived in poverty.
Deep poverty. He ended up working as a dishwasher, a plonger in Paris. Experiences he wrote about so vividly in Down and Out in Paris and London. That firsthand knowledge of just grinding poverty, the sheer misery and dehumanization of it. You see that reflected in the grimness of Oceania, the rundown buildings, the constant shortages.
It wasn't theoretical for him. He lived it.
He lived it, and he continued to immerse himself in it. He went tramping his research for a book on poverty, and then later was commissioned to write about poverty in the north of England. That became The Road to Wigan Pier in 1937. Around this time, he also married Eileen O'Shaughnessy.
So imperialism, poverty, and then Spain. That seems like a huge turning point.
Oh, absolutely massive. The Spanish Civil War, starting in 1936, Orwell went there to fight for the Republicans against Franco's fascists.
But it wasn't just fighting fascists, was it? He saw something else there, too.
He did. He fought alongside an anti-Stalinist militia. And he and Eileen barely escaped Barcelona during the communist purges of their political rivals on the left. That experience, which he documented in Homage to Catalonia, was, I think, utterly transformative. It made him fiercely anti-Stalinist, anti-totalitarian in any form, but still a believer in democratic socialism.
So his opposition to Big Brother wasn't just an abstract idea. He'd seen that kind of ideological tyranny up close.
He'd literally dodged bullets from it. It cemented his understanding of how totalitarian regimes operate, how they betray their own ideals, how they crush dissent. It wasn't just theory, it was life and death.
Wow. And then during World War II, he worked for the BBC.
Yeah, from 1941 to 1943 for the Eastern Service, broadcasting propaganda to India. And he knew it was propaganda. He famously felt like an orange that's been trodden on by a very dirty boot.
So he's experienced imperialism, poverty, totalitarian infighting, and state propaganda machinery from the inside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That direct experience with how truth can be twisted and manipulated by the state, you just know that fed directly into the creation of the Ministry of Truth. He understood the mechanics of it.
It's like his whole life was a masterclass in oppression and control.
It really was. Then Animal Farm came out in 1944, which finally brought him some financial security, but it was also a time of tragedy. His wife, Eileen, died during surgery in 1945.
Oh, I didn't realize that happened right before she really got into writing 1984.
Yeah, he wrote the novel between 45 and its publication in 49 while grieving, doing journalism.
Yeah.
It must have been an incredibly intense period. He died himself not long after in 1950.
So when you put it all together, the book isn't just a story. It's like a synthesis of everything he'd witnessed and feared. Imperialism, poverty, political betrayal, propaganda, loss. It's all baked in.
Completely baked in. It's a distillation of his life's observations and deepest anxieties about the direction the world was heading. Every element of Oceania's horror has some root in his real-world experience.
Okay, so with that crucial context set, let's step into Oceania itself. Right from that famous opening line, it was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13.
Bam. Instantly unsettling, isn't it? That 13. Something's fundamentally wrong with this world's time, its order.
And the descriptions that follow, it's not just cold, it's a vile wind. There's gritty dust and the smell in victory mansions, boiled cabbage and old rag mats. Ugh, it's visceral.
It really is. And Orwell uses that sensory detail so effectively. It immediately establishes this world as oppressive, decaying, inefficient. It smells bad, it feels bad.
And Winston himself, our way into this world, he's only 39, but he's got this varicose ulcer on his ankle. He's struggling up 7 flights of stairs because the lift doesn't work. Power cuts for an economy drive before Heat Week.
Even that detail, the broken lift, the ulcer, it's not just random. It contributes to this sense of constant low-level misery and physical discomfort. It wears people down. The environment itself is oppressive.
It makes the population more malleable, right? If you're constantly dealing with damp, cold, hunger, broken things, maybe you have less energy to question the bigger picture.
Exactly. It's a form of control that operates beneath the surface of outright force. It's the dreary exhaustion of everyday life. This isn't some shiny high-tech dystopia. It's grimy and falling apart.
But then you have the very overt symbols of control, the posters, everywhere. This enormous face more than a meter wide.
Big Brother's watching you. And the description of the eyes, contrived that the eyes follow you about when you move. That constant, inescapable gaze.
It's pure psychological dominance, but even more pervasive is the telescreen.
Ah, yes, the telescreen. That oblong metal plaque like a dulled mirror. You can't turn it off completely, only dim it. And it's not just broadcasting party propaganda or, pig iron production figures.
It's watching you, listening, always. Your home isn't private. Nothing is.
It erases the concept of private space. And then you have the helicopters snooping into people's windows, the police patrols. But Orwell makes it clear those are almost secondary.
Right. Only the thought police mattered. The real threat is unseen, targeting your mind.
That's the genius of it. The fear of the unseen, the internal police force, is far more potent than the visible patrols. It suggests a level of control that aims for your thoughts, not just your actions.
And this control is centralized in those 4 massive ministries. Looming over London, Airstrip 1.
These giant pyramidal structures and their names. Pure Orwellian irony.
The Ministry of Truth, Minutru, handling news, entertainment, education, fine arts.
Which, of course, means lies, propaganda, rewriting history.
The Ministry of Peace, Mini-Packs, which runs the perpetual wars.
Always at war.
The Ministry of Miniplenty, overseeing economic affairs.
In a world of constant shortages and rationing.
And the most terrifying one, Miniluv, the Ministry of Love.
Responsible for law and order. Described as the really frightening one. No windows, barbed wire, steel doors, machine gun nests, gorilla-faced guards. Just the name itself inspires dread.
And emblazoned on the Ministry of Truth, those party slogans, the pillars of their philosophy.
War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength.
They hit you right away, these impossible contradictions. How do these immediately signal the depth of the control?
They're the ultimate expression of doublethink, right? They force the mind to accept paradoxes, to abandon logic. If you can be made to believe these, you can be made to believe anything. Language itself is weaponized from the start to break your ability to think critically. It's psychological warfare embedded in the very fabric of the state.
So, faced with all this crushing weight of surveillance and control, Winston commits his first real act of rebellion. And it's so small, almost pathetic, but incredibly brave.
He opens a diary.
Yeah. He finds this little alcove in his apartment, out of sight of the telescreen, his one private corner.
Which is hugely significant in itself, that tiny space of privacy. And the act of writing with a real pen, on paper. It's archaic, forbidden in spirit, if not by actual law.
Because there are no laws, right? That's another chilling detail. Nothing was illegal since there were no longer any laws.
But detection meant death, or 25 years in a forced labor camp. The absence of law doesn't mean freedom. It means absolute arbitrary power for the party. Anything could be a crime.
And he's terrified doing it. His handwriting is childish at first. The simple act of putting thoughts on paper is monumental.
It really is. It's reclaiming a tiny piece of his own mind.
And his first entry, it's about that war film he saw. The horrific violence bombing refugees, children.
And the audience reaction. That's the key. The party members laugh, applaud. Total desensitization.
But then there's the pearl woman.
Yes. She cries out, "They didn't ought to have showed it not in front of kids." She retains that basic human empathy, that sense of right and wrong.
And gets hauled off by the police for her trouble. The contrast is stark. The party members are conditioned. The pearl woman isn't. not in the same way.
It's a crucial early hint, isn't it? That perhaps the party's psychological grip isn't absolute, at least not on the proles. It shows the depth of conditioning needed to extinguish basic human feeling among party members.
Then there's the 2 minutes hate, this daily ritual of absolute fury.
That hideous grinding speech, the face of Emmanuel Goldstein, the enemy of the people, flashing on the screen.
Goldstein, the scapegoat for everything. The primal traitor, leader of the mythical brotherhood, author of the book. He's the focus for all the fear and rage.
And the effect is terrifyingly effective. People lose control, scream, and to this hideous ecstasy of fear and vindictiveness, it turns them into lunatics for 2 minutes.
Winston feels it too, right? He tries to resist, maybe even directs hate towards Big Brother for a second, feels a flicker of empathy for Goldstein.
But then he's swept up. The collective hysteria is too powerful. It's a deliberate release valve, channeling all frustration towards an external enemy, unifying everyone in hatred, and then resolving it with the calming image of Big Brother.
It's mass psychology weaponized. Does it tap into something real in them, or is it purely forced?
I think it's both. It exploits real frustrations and anxieties, but directs them in a way the party controls. It creates artificial unity through shared hatred. It inoculates them against actual critical thought by providing this powerful emotional outlet.
And it's right after this, still reeling, that he finds himself writing in the diary.
Down with Big Brother.
Over and over.
In big capital letters.
And the instant he does it, he knows he's committed thought crime.
Yeah. The realization hits him. Writing it down or not writing it down makes no difference. Thought police would get him anyway. Just thinking it was the crime.
Thought crime does not entail death. Thought crime, IS, death. That line is just ice cold.
It perfectly captures the totality of the party's control. It's not about what you do, it's about what you are, what you think. There's no hiding inside your own skull.
It's pre-crime, essentially, punishing the potential for dissent, not just the act. And then, right at that moment of terror, a knock at the door.
Ah, yes. The timing is perfect, dramatic irony. Turns out it's just Mrs. Parsons, his neighbor. But the fear is real. It highlights the constant anxiety, the feeling that the hammer could fall at any second.
Because the party isn't just about outward conformity. It demands inner purity, the correct internal state. Any deviation, even just a fleeting thought, is fatal.
And speaking of Mrs. Parsons, that whole family gives us such a chilling look at the party's impact on daily life, on the family unit itself.
Yeah, Mrs. Parsons seems so worn down, dusty, older than her 30 years.
Right.
And the flat itself, like all of Victory Mansions, is just falling apart. Plaster falling, pipes leaking.
It reinforces that atmosphere of decay and neglect. But the real horror is the children.
Oh, God, the children, the Parsons kids, dressed in their spies' uniforms, playing with toy pistols but shouting things like, "Traitor! Thought criminal!" at Winston, threatening vaporization.
And they're not just playing. Mrs. Parsons is genuinely frightened of them. She mentions they're upset because they missed a public hanging of Eurasian prisoners.
It's absolutely terrifying. These kids are fully indoctrinated. We learn the little girl reported a man to the patrols just for having funny shoes, followed him for hours. They set fire to an old woman's skirt because she wrapped sausages in a Big Brother poster.
It's the party's strategy in action. Turn children into extensions of the thought police. Train them to watch everyone, including their own parents.
It completely destroys the family as a private space, doesn't it? Loyalty to Big Brother trumps family ties. How effective is that as a control mechanism?
Devastatingly effective. It creates informers in every home, eradicates trust, ensures the party's ideology is instilled from the earliest age. It's grooming children to be agents of the state against their own families. It's one of the most chilling aspects of the party's control.
And then there's the control of language itself. Newspeak, we meet Syme, the lexicographer working on the new dictionary.
Syme, who Winston thinks is too smart, too aware, and will definitely be vaporized, which is depressingly accurate.
And Syme explains the point of Newspeak. It's not just simplification.
No, it's to narrow the range of thought, to make thought crime literally impossible, because the words to express it won't exist anymore.
Every concept that can ever be needed will be expressed by exactly one word. All the nuances, the secondary meanings, rubbed out and forgotten.
They're destroying old literature. Shakespeare, Milton, they'll only exist in Newspeak versions, probably meaning the opposite of the original. Even party slogans will eventually become meaningless once the concepts they twist are gone.
Syme's quote, "Orthodoxy means not thinking, not needing to think. Orthodoxy is unconsciousness." That's the goal, isn't it? A population that literally can't think subversive thoughts.
Precisely. And concepts like duck speak, quacking like a duck, which means both abuse when aimed at an enemy and praise when aimed at an ally. It embodies the required mental gymnastics.
So how does it actually work? The appendix gives details, right?
Yeah, the appendix is crucial. It shows how systematic it is. Interchangeable parts of speech like think is the noun and the verb, prefixes and suffixes to simplify ungood instead of bad plus good instead of excellent, elimination of synonyms and antonyms.
And crucially, eliminating undesirable meanings. Free only means lacking something, like this dog is free from lice. It loses the meaning of political or intellectual freedom entirely.
Exactly. Words like honor, justice, morality, democracy, science, religion simply cease to exist in their old forms. And new words are created like crime stops, stopping dangerous thoughts automatically, black-white believing contradictions, and doublethink.
The language itself becomes blunt, clipped, monotonous, designed for automatic, unconscious speech, not for reflection.
It raises that fundamental question. Can you think a thought if you don't have the words for it? Can you truly desire freedom if the word only means permitted?
The implication is terrifying. That language can literally shrink the boundaries of human consciousness. If concepts become nameless, they become unimaginable and thus uncontrollable by the individual.
It's perhaps the most insidious form of control in the book. A self-policing mechanism built into the very structure of thought, a perpetual prison of language.
And that ties directly into doublethink, the ultimate mental discipline, summed up by that slogan: who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past.
Winston struggles with this constantly. He knows Oceania was allied with Eurasia 4 years ago. He remembers it, but the party now says they've always been at war with Eastasia, and everyone accepts it.
It's called reality control. The ability to know and not to know. To hold simultaneously two opinions which canceled out, knowing them to be contradictory and believing in both of them.
Consciously to induce unconsciousness, and then to become unconscious of the act of hypnosis you had just performed. It's an active, ongoing process of self-deception.
And Winston's job is this process, working in the records department at the Ministry of Truth, rewriting history, deleting unpersons, altering articles, faking photographs.
We see him invent Comrade Ogilvy out of whole cloth. A perfect party hero, totally fabricated, inserted into the historical record as if he'd always existed. Winston is good at it. He can mimic the party style perfectly.
How does this constant rewriting of the past affect people? Is it more terrifying than, say, physical torture?
I think, arguably, yes. It destroys your sense of reality, your trust in your own memory. If the past could be changed at will, then nothing is stable, nothing is objectively true. It makes you utterly dependent on the party for your understanding of everything. It attacks your sanity, your identity. It's a deeper violation than physical pain. Now, amidst all this control over party members, what about the proles? The 85% of the population, the party has this really contradictory attitude towards them.
Right. Officially, the party liberated them from capitalist slavery, right? No more child labor, starvation. That's the story.
But in perfect doublethink, the party also teaches that proles are natural inferiors, like animals who just need to be kept in line. Proles and animals are free, as the saying goes.
Their lives seem different. Heavy work, family, quarrels, films, football, beer, gambling. Especially the lottery.
The lottery, which the party runs, and the prizes are mostly fake, but it's the one public event they care about. It's their anodyne, their intellectual stimulant, a distraction.
And the party doesn't seem to try to indoctrinate them the way they do party members. No strong political feelings wanted, just focus on petty stuff. They don't even have telescreens in their homes, usually.
And things like sexual puritanism aren't enforced on them. They can have affairs, get divorced. It seems almost looser.
So is this neglect a mistake by the party, or is it strategic? Does this freedom make the proles more controlled in a way?
It seems entirely strategic. The party understands that trying to rigidly control 85% of the population with telescreens and constant indoctrination would be hugely resource-intensive and might provoke rebellion. Instead, they keep them poor, uneducated, distracted by cheap entertainment and gambling, and allow them minor freedoms that don't threaten the party's power. Their freedom is the freedom of ignorance, which keeps them politically inert. It's a very cynical but effective form of mass management.
But Winston, he pins his hopes on them. If there is hope, it lies in the proles. It's like an article of faith for him.
It is. He feels they have retained some kind of innate humanity or vitality the party members have lost. He ventures into their neighborhoods, an active own life, just wanting to connect.
He's searching for a link to the past, isn't he? Trying to verify his own memories against the party's lies. He sees an old man in a pub, someone who might remember life before the revolution.
Yes, he sees this old man, maybe 80 years old, as a potential key to unlocking the real past.
So he tries to talk to him, asks him, were things better then? Or worse? He's desperate for some concrete comparison.
But the encounter is a total failure. The old man's memory is just disconnected fragments. He remembers wearing top hats, arguing about politics he barely understood, a pub fight, maybe the beer being better, but nothing coherent about the bigger picture.
A rubbish heap of details, Winston concludes. He can't get any real information. Even the barman doesn't know what a pint is, only liters.
It's a devastating moment for Winston's hope. Does it mean the party has succeeded in erasing history even from living memory? Or is it just how ordinary memory works, focusing on the personal and trivial?
Probably a bit of both, but the effect is the same, isn't it? The past becomes inaccessible, unreliable. If even eyewitnesses can't offer a coherent account, then the party's version, however false, becomes the only narrative left standing. It really undermines the idea that the proles hold the key to remembering the truth. Okay, so the past seems lost, but then a different kind of dangerous hope enters Winston's life. Julia, the girl with the dark hair.
Initially, he's terrified of her, right? Thinks she's a spy, part of the thought police. He even has violent thoughts about her. That shows the level of paranoia the party fosters.
Total distrust. But then she falls, he helps her up, and she slips him that note.
Just 4 words, I love you.
And it changes everything for him, instantly. That fear turns into this overwhelming desire to live, to be with her. It's like a switch flips.
It's a powerful reminder of basic human connection breaking through the oppression. The logistics are crazy, though. How do they even arrange to meet with telescreens everywhere?
They manage it in crowded places first, like the canteen, and then they find that clearing in the woods, the Golden Country.
And we see Julia's character emerge. She's very different from Winston. She's practical, cunning, experienced in dodging the party rules.
She hates the party, uses crude language about it, but she's not interested in the ideology, the why. She thinks organized revolt is stupid. Her rebellion is personal.
Her philosophy is, if you kept the small rules, you could break the big ones. She joins the Junior Anti-Sex League as camouflage. It's all about creating space for her own desires.
And for her, sex is the rebellion. The sexual act, successfully performed, was rebellion. Desire was thought crime. She understands the party hates it because it uses energy, makes you happy, makes you not care about the party.
Which is a really interesting contrast to Winston's obsession with truth and history. Julia doesn't care if the party invented airplanes or who they're at war with this week. It's all lies anyway, she figures.
So comparing their approaches, Winston's is intellectual, seeking truth, potentially world-changing, but also incredibly dangerous. Julia's is pragmatic, sensual, focused on immediate gratification and survival within the system, which is more effective or sustainable.
That's a great question. Julia's seems more sustainable in the short term, perhaps. She's surviving, finding moments of joy. Winston's path seems destined for collision with the party because he's challenging their fundamental control over reality. Julia's is a rebellion of the body. Winston's a rebellion of the mind.
And they find their sanctuary, for a while, in that room above Mr. Tarrington's junk shop.
The place Winston bought the diary and the glass paperweight. It feels connected to the past, safe. Crucially, no telescreen.
It becomes their haven. Utterly alone, utterly secure, he feels the sense of nostalgia, of history. He treasures the paperweight, that piece of coral suspended in glass. Julia brings real food, sugar, bread, jam, coffee, smuggled goods. Little luxuries that are huge acts of defiance.
It's their bubble of private reality. But even there, danger lurks beneath the surface. Julie mentions rats.
And Winston completely freaks out. He has this deep, visceral phobia of rats. She have to comfort him. It's a stark reminder of his vulnerability, even in their safe space.
Absolutely. That room is symbolic of their fragile attempt at a private life, a connection to beauty, the paperweight, and intimacy. But the rat phobia. It's a crack in Winston's armor, a deep-seated terror that foreshadows the horrors of Room 101. It shows that even in rebellion, personal fears and vulnerabilities remain, waiting to be exploited. And then comes the next stage of Winston's rebellion, the intellectual one. He gets the book, Goldstein's book.
Handed off by O'Brien, who Winston still desperately believes is on his side, part of the Brotherhood, the legendary theory and practice of oligarchical collectivism.
Winston reads it voraciously in the room above the shop. And it doesn't tell him much he didn't already suspect, but that's the point. It confirms his thoughts, gives structure to his dissent. It proves he's not crazy.
It said what he would have said if it had been possible for him to set his scattered thoughts in order. It validates him. Julia, meanwhile.
Julia falls asleep while he's reading it. She finds it impressive in theory, but isn't interested in the dense political analysis. Doesn't connect to her form of rebellion.
So what does the book actually say? Chapter 1, Ignorance is Strength, lays out this historical cycle. The high, the middle, the low, always struggling.
Right. The high want to stay on top. The middle want to usurp the high, often using the low by promising equality. The low, when they're aware enough, want actual equality. But the cycle just repeats. Middle becomes high, low stay low.
And the book argues that the current rulers, the party, are a new kind of aristocracy. Bureaucrats, scientists, technicians, more ruthless, more conscious of power, better equipped to crush opposition, especially with technology like the telescreen ending private life.
It's a pretty bleak analysis. Does it offer any hope or just confirm that oppression is inevitable? It mostly seems to confirm the inevitability, suggesting that technology has now made the cycle permanent, allowing the party to maintain control indefinitely.
The book calls the system oligarchical collectivism. How does that work?
It argues that collective ownership is the best way to defend privilege. So, abolishing private property didn't lead to equality, but concentrated ownership in fewer hands to parties. Ingsoc uses socialist language, but aims to make inequality permanent.
And the main threats to the party aren't the proles, but internal splits or the growth of liberalism within their own ranks. The proles just need to be kept passive.
Exactly. It outlines the hierarchy. Big brother at the top, symbolic focus, inner party, the brain, 2%, outer party, the hands like Winston, and the proles, 85%. And crucially, it's not hereditary. Power persists through ideology, not bloodline. Talented proles who might be dangerous are identified and eliminated.
So the ideology itself is the inheritor. That feels almost more stable and maybe more terrifying than a traditional aristocracy. It's maintained through constant indoctrination, surveillance, rewriting history.
Precisely. It creates a self-perpetuating system based on mental conformity. And all this leads to the book's explanation of the perpetual war.
Ah, yes. War is peace. The book claims the real point of modern war isn't conquest.
No. It's to use up the products of the machine without raising the general standard of living. If there were peace and abundance, people might become comfortable, educated, start thinking for themselves. Dangerous for the party.
So war keeps everyone poor, scared, and focused on a common enemy. It consumes surplus goods that might otherwise lead to equality. The three superstates are actually unconquerable, and the fighting is mostly peripheral or faked.
War is now a purely internal affair, waged by each ruling group against its own subjects to keep the structure of society intact. That's the core insight.
So war is peace means that a state of perpetual war creates the internal conditions of stability and control, peace, that the party desires. It removes external threats and justifies internal oppression.
It's a chillingly logical, if completely cynical, view of geopolitics. War is a tool for domestic control, maintaining scarcity and fear. It reframes conflict entirely, not as a means to an end, but as the end itself. But just as Winston is absorbing this, feeling intellectually armed, the end comes for their sanctuary.
They're in the room talking, maybe feeling a bit too secure, thinking they're passing on the torch.
And then that iron voice speaks from behind the picture of St. Clement's Church. You are the dead.
It's Mr. Charrington. He wasn't a kindly old shopkeeper. He was thought police all along.
The betrayal is total. The room is stormed by men in black uniforms. They smash the glass paperweight.
How small, Winston thinks. How small it always was. Such a poignant line. The symbol of their fragile private world shattered. Julia is dragged away.
That moment, the smashing of the paperweight, it's the symbolic end of their rebellion, their hope, their connection to the past. Their little bubble is violently burst.
And Winston is taken to the Ministry of Love. Many love.
The place he always dreaded, described as clean, white, brightly lit, windowless. A sterile nightmare. Constant humming sound. Telescreens watching.
And the prisoners. There's a difference between the common criminals, rowdy, defiant, still somehow human, and the party prisoners.
The party prisoners are silent, terrified, already broken. We see Parsons brought in. His own daughter denounced him for saying, "Down with Big Brother," in his sleep.
And Parsons is almost proud of her for doing her duty. He still seems to believe in the party's justice, even as it consumes him. It's horrifying.
Utterly horrifying. And we hear another prisoner begging not to be taken to room 101, building the dread for that unknown place.
The torture begins. Beatings, starvation, but also intense psychological torment, endless questioning.
Winston tries to hold on to his integrity. He thinks he'd take double the pain to save Julia, but admits, in the face of pain, there are no heroes. Physical agony breaks down ideology.
It seems the party isn't interested in the common criminals, only in crushing the political prisoners, the potential dissenters within its own ranks. Why the difference?
Because the party's goal isn't just punishment, it's conversion. They don't care if common criminals remain criminal. They need to eradicate thought crime, independent thought, loyalty to anything other than the party. They need to break the minds of those who might actually challenge them.
And the architect of this breaking is O'Brien.
O'Brien appears, not as a savior, but as the chief interrogator. Calm, intelligent, almost paternal. "They got me a long time ago," he tells Winston. He says he'll cure him, make him perfect.
His methods are terrifying. The 3 stages: learning, understanding, and acceptance. It's about dismantling Winston's mind piece by piece.
He attacks objective reality itself, forces Winston through torture to admit Oceania was always at war with Eastasia, that the photo proving Jones, Aronson, and Rutherford innocent was a hallucination.
Reality exists in the human mind and nowhere else. Only in the mind of the party, which is collective and immortal. That's the core of O'Brien's philosophy.
He holds up 4 fingers, demands Winston see 5, tortures him until Winston tries to see 5. Sometimes there are 5, sometimes there are 3, sometimes there are all of them at once. Truth is whatever the party dictates.
And O'Brien explains why they do this. Unlike past tyrannies, they don't make martyrs. We convert him, we capture his inner mind, we make him one of ourselves before we kill him. No loose ends, no heroic resistance left.
He reveals he oversaw the breaking of Jones, Aronson, and Rutherford himself. Saw them become shells, loving Big Brother before they were vaporized. It's chilling. Which is worse, the physical pain or this mental annihilation?
The mental annihilation, surely. It destroys the person. O'Brien perfectly embodies the party's cold, intellectual sadism. He believes utterly in the party's power to reshape reality.
And Winston degrades physically and mentally. He becomes skeletal, then is cared for, fattened up, but his mind is broken. He writes freedom is slavery, and 2 and 2 make 5 on his slate. He struggles to remember the 3rd slogan.
But there's one last flicker. He cries out, "Julia! Julia! I love Julia!" in his sleep. He realizes he still hates the party, deep down.
That final spark of forbidden emotion means he's not fully cured. So O'Brien sends him to room 101.
The worst thing in the world, which varies for everyone. For Winston.
It's rats, his deepest, most primal fear. O'Brien brings in a cage designed to fit over Winston's head, filled with huge, starving rats.
He describes exactly how they'll eat his face, and Winston breaks completely. He screams.
"Do it to Julia, do it to Julia, not me. Julia, I don't care what you do to her. Tear her face off, strip her to the bones. Not me. Julia, not me."
The ultimate betrayal. Sacrificing the person he loved to save himself from his worst fear. Is that inevitable under such pressure? Or is it a personal failing?
The book suggests it's inevitable. Room 101 is designed to find that breaking point, that ultimate fear, and use it to sever the last ties of loyalty and love that aren't directed towards the party. It proves, in the party's eyes, that self-preservation overrides everything, leaving only emptiness that Big Brother can fill. It's the final step in destroying the individual self. So after Room 101, Winston is released, he's cured. We find him in the Chestnut Tree Cafe, a place known for reformed thought criminals.
He's changed, physically fatter, red-faced, smells of gin. He has a pointless, better-paid job. He's technically free. No one watches him closely anymore, but it's an empty freedom.
He spends his days drinking gin, solving chess problems where white always mates, symbolizing the party's inevitable victory.
Then a news bulletin announces a great victory over Eurasia. The enemy has switched again. And in that moment,
something clicks inside him. He feels a surge of warmth, of belonging. He traces 2 + 2 = 5 in the dust. The struggle is finished.
He had won the victory over himself. He loved Big Brother. The final lines, just devastating.
It's the ultimate defeat, isn't it? Presented as a personal victory, a healing change, but it's the complete annihilation of his spirit. He exists, but the independent Winston is gone. The party has won utterly.
And we get that one last bleak encounter with Julia.
They meet by chance in the park. She's changed too, coarser, scarred, her body stiffened. like a corpse, Winston thinks.
Their conversation is numb. They both admit flatly, I betrayed you.
Julie explains how it works in room 101. They threaten you with the worst thing, and you say, don't do it to me, do it to somebody else. You want it to happen to the other person. You mean it.
And after that, feelings are gone. They agree they should meet again, but neither means it. They drift apart. The connection is dead. What does this show about the party's victory?
It shows its totality. It doesn't just break individuals. It destroys love, loyalty, the very possibility of authentic human connection. Even shared trauma can't reunite them because the core betrayal forced by the party is too deep. There's nothing left.
Are tying it all back? Newspeak. The appendix reminds us of its ultimate goal.
To make all other modes of thought impossible. By eliminating words, eliminating unorthodox meanings, free loses its political sense, equal loses its social justice sense.
So someone growing up with only Newspeak literally wouldn't be able to conceive of rebellion or freedom in the way Winston did. The concepts would be nameless and therefore unimaginable.
It's the final lock on the prison. Language itself becomes the ultimate enforcer, ensuring that even if the party's physical power somehow wavered, the mental framework for dissent wouldn't exist. It's the long-term guarantee of ignorance being strength.
Wow. Okay. Diving back into 1984 like this, it really hammers home the enduring power of Orwell's warnings. Totalitarianism, surveillance, manipulation of truth and language, the fragility of memory and love, it's all just so starkly laid out.
It remains incredibly relevant, doesn't it? Constantly prompting us to think about power, control, and the importance of critical thought and clear language in our own world.
Absolutely. Which aspects hit you the hardest this time around? Or what did you find most chilling? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. We really hope this discussion gave you plenty to think about, maybe some new angles on this absolute classic. It definitely left us with a lot to process. So thank you for joining us for episode 28 of Cliffhangers and Page Turners. If you enjoyed our conversation today, or even if you disagreed with us, please do like this review, leave us that comment with your take on 1984, maybe share it with a friend who loves a good, thought-provoking read. And of course, please subscribe so you don't miss our future discussions. We're here every Friday. Join us next week for episode 29, where we'll be discussing a much more recent novel, The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. Should be a fascinating contrast. Until then, keep reading, keep thinking, and we'll see you next Friday.